So Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market took an absolute dump today, and everybody seems to be calling it manipulation. However, I call it ignorance, and I want to show you why I call it ignorance. For starters, I shorted this morning. How did I know that it was going to go down, and it was going to go down substantially? I'm going to explain that in this video, so make sure you watch till the end and hit the like button if I provide you value. But I find it funny how everybody calls whenever a down move happens manipulation. It has to be manipulation. It can't be anything else. Liquidity is a concept that I've always been screaming on this channel. So we're going to go over how I entered the actual trade. And again, I took it on this morning's live stream. So watch the stream because we talk about it on the stream as well. I'm going to go over the setup and what I'm looking for now. But I just find it very comical that it has to be manipulation. And especially because of the Bybit thing. You know, there's a saying, I believe it's like, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. And the idea behind this saying is that if the charts look bearish, you know, sometimes it'll usually, like the bearish news will come out after the charts were already bearish. I could have already told you that the charts were already bearish. And the Nexus, which is my premium Discord, already knew not to be aggressively bullish. So we're going to talk about a few things in this video. And we're going to start with USDT dominance because I still feel like not many people are paying close attention to USDT dominance. I've made my case and I've made my various videos about USDT dominance. And I built my case as to why it's very important. So we're going to go over USDT dominance. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play you a video from the Nexus, which is my VIP Discord. Every morning we do live streams. Every morning we do our analysis. And then after the live streams, for the ones that couldn't attend because they have work or other commitments, I do a quick 2 to 3 minute stream recap. So I'm going to play the stream recap to you. So you know what I was looking for, and I just basically recapped the entire stream. We knew not to be aggressively bullish. We knew that a big move to the downside was going to come, potentially, and we knew to pay attention to USDT dominance. So there's definitely no manipulation here. It's not manipulation. The market is a business. It needs to move up and down, so it's not manipulation. It's not because of the Bybit thing and whatever else. And it's definitely not manipulation only when it goes down, because if they were going to use the word manipulation, then it could be manipulated to the upside as well. But of course, nobody ever wants to say that or hear that or admit that. So anyways, this is the Nexus. This is my stream recap from this morning. Let's watch it, and then we will go over our trade. How did I enter the trade and what I'm potentially looking for next? Okay, guys, quick stream recap. So Bitcoin pumped, and we're about to get a market structure flip here. Interesting, but basically my idea from yesterday, which was to get a scam, dump, and pump, is still a possibility. And the reason why is because the reason that we had our dump or the scam dump and pump yesterday was to take out liquidity, which we identified. However, they didn't actually do that. Okay, they didn't hit the reason why I thought we were going to go down. So that off the bat is telling me, and this goes across the board, that off the jump is telling me that we may still see our scam dump and then potential continuation pump. We're going to have to reassess it, of course. But yeah, I mean, we went through my top coins, which are BTC, ETH, Solana, and ADA. But the actual number one thing to watch is USDT dominance. And the reason why is because just like how we SFP'd this high, and I mentioned there were no short or no longs until this high was SFP'd, we're getting the same thing right now on the low. And you have this liquidity that like USDT dominance could just do this, right? And rotate back down to the other side just as it did to come and take this, right? So it's important to not get so aggressively bullish right now. We're going to wait for confirmations anyways. And believe me, we're probably going to have some time to get into the trades. But the number one thing that I would be paying attention to is USDT dominance. And I can tell you right now that the way that it's looking is so far, it looks like it's gonna rise from here. So okay, so let's go over to the USDT dominance, because obviously I shed some very I have very strong opinions on how important it is. And so let's go over it, okay? So USDT dominance. In the video, you heard me this morning say, okay, well, when you SFP one side, we already know. I talk about this all the time. When you SFP one side, you're very likely going to go to the other side. A couple days ago on, I think it was Tuesday, I believe, when we were looking for longs, and you better believe that the Nexus was long this week, amongst all the manipulation, right? I said no longs until this high goes, right? Because we had equal highs on USDT dominance. we were able to identify that this was a very important level and that we were very likely going to come up to it. And since we did that, when you SFP one side and you get the confirmation like you had here, you will rotate to the other side. That's all that we're doing. And when you rotate on USDT dominance before any buy bid or any other FUD happens, right? Everyone's screaming right now, buy bit FUD. Da-da-da. It's not because of buy bit why we dumped. We dumped because we were ready to dump. The technicals said to dump. So look, I'm not your father. I can't tell you what to say or what not to say. My recommendation, my non-financial advice is to remove the word manipulation from your vocabulary because the market always moves for a reason. And if you can't find it, you gotta find it. If you don't see it, you gotta find it. It'll move for a reason always, right? So on a small time frame, like I indicated in that video, you had a market structure flip here. It looked like it was gonna come up and what I would say squeeze the shorts on USDT dominance. Obviously, it's not squeezing any shorts, but USDT dominance is very important to pay attention to. And I don't know why other creators are not putting emphasis on it. And they're putting more emphasis on the word manipulation. But anyways, we knew that we could potentially pump here. Now, why did I short? How did I short? Another thing that you need to know is that Bitcoin and Ethereum work in tandem. Okay, I say it all the time as well, all the time. And while Bitcoin didn't have an exact clear level to short from, Ethereum did. So this morning, when I was on live stream and I was looking for shorts and I was talking about how there was no way on God's green earth that I'm longing here, right? I'm not falling for any FUD, okay? Or any FOMO. I don't do that. I knew that I was looking for shorts. Why was I looking for shorts? For starters, okay? Why? Aside from the USDT dominance thing, I had identified liquidity to the downside, and I identified that the probability of getting a scam dump and then a continuation pump was likely. And the Nexus knew that. We ended up getting our scam dump and our follow-up pump, but the problem is the scam dump did not actually hit its order flow objective. We left equal lows. You didn't take any of the lows that, in my opinion, we should have taken yesterday for it to have been a healthy move. For this reason, I was not, there's no way I'm longing this. I'm never, ever, ever in a million years going to long this. I obsess over liquidity. I will miss the long. I don't care. I'll get the short. Look how much faster the short happened than the long, because the longs, they do this. They leave this garbage liquidity. And I was already long from down here, by the way. But anyways, that's not the point of the video. I identified the liquidity. I'm never going to long up here. I don't care if it goes to 1,000,000, right? I don't care who's on Twitter screaming that Ethereum is going to 5,000 and, you know, Carl from the moon saying buy Solana today and you'll be happy in 30 days. Yeah, I'm sure. Anyways, you might be, but you can't just buy it based off of hopium. We already know that this cycle is very different. We already know that this altcoin season hasn't been coming into fruition like everybody thinks. And my belief is that because people are just too entitled, right? Everyone thinks that they deserve an altcoin season, and that's why the alts have been getting hammered. And the market doesn't work that way, right? It's not manipulation. It's just the way that the market moves. Anyway, so we were at the highs, right? I already know there's no way I'm looking for for longs. I'm not longing the top. That's never in a million years going to happen. Bitcoin and Ethereum work in tandem. Okay, so I didn't have a clear point on Bitcoin, right? I did short Bitcoin, but I didn't have I shorted Ethereum as well. I didn't have a clear level here on Bitcoin. I didn't. Now, there might have been a golden pocket or something. I don't trade golden pockets. They're a little bit too subjective for me, because what happens is, or fibs for that matter, right? What happens is, like, okay, you beat the fib here. Then what people do is they'll move it to the next line and then move it to the next line after that and say, oh, it bounced perfectly from, or it rejected perfectly from that level. But they just adjust the fib and they pick the right fib that it works. Like if it bounced from the 886, then they'll say, oh, look, it bounced perfectly off the 886 from this pull. Like it's too subjective, right? They could just make it fit. There's fibs everywhere. So I didn't have a clear level on Bitcoin, but I already knew that I wasn't looking for longs. That's impossible. I'm never, ever going to long here. And I do know that Ethereum and Bitcoin work in tandem, okay? And Ethereum was approaching its 1 hour order block. And not only was it approaching its 1 hour supply, right? 1 hour supply, but we are in a supply chain. So this is strong supply. So while everybody is screaming for, you know, Ethereum is going to 4,000 in March and 5,000 by April and 8,000 by June, I'm like, all right, well, it very well could. But in order for it to do that, it's going to have to beat this 1 hour block. And I'm not longing in this 1 hour block. That's impossible, right? So this morning on the live stream in the Nexus, I did identify this block. And I said, listen, we got to be paying attention to Ethereum, because if Ethereum produces a market structure flip here, then the whole market is probably going to flip because of USDT dominance, right? Everything was coming into place at the same time, for the market to move down. And then it's just so happened that we got the Bybit news after all those things. But that's irrelevant because the technicals showed down anyway. Okay. So I shorted on the live stream. I knew that while Bitcoin was not in a level that I had anyways, Ethereum very much so was. And that's important because Bitcoin and Ethereum work in tandem. And look at the liquidity that was left behind on the whole market. Yesterday's scam dump was supposed to, in my opinion, come and look at it. Didn't even do anything. It left equal lows. There were equal lows across the entire market. This dump that's happening right now was supposed to happen yesterday on yesterday's scam dump. This scam dump, it was supposed to, in my opinion, go like this and then like this. So I am looking for longs now, absolutely, because we just dumped a substantial amount and you should be looking for longs. Targets are TBD. I'm going to have to redo my analysis, so we're going to have to wait and see. But we already knew that we weren't going to look for longs at the high of the range. Like, you're in a range. You're simply just in a range. So, I do believe it's very important to remain as emotionless as possible, remain objective as possible. Don't fall for the, we're in a bull market, so don't short, because, the people that are only longing found out today. And I recommend everybody always pays attention to liquidity and just throw the word manipulation out the door, because first of all, it's too biased. Everybody's too biased with it. They only call it manipulation when price dumps and not when price pumps. And second of all, there's always a reason. There's always a reason. And if you don't see it, you just need to find it. Okay. And for the most part, it's mostly going to be liquidity. Liquidity is the answer to literally everything. Okay. Especially when you're in a range, right? We have liquidity to the upside, which is why for the past while I've been saying that my favorite play was to bounce down off of this level here and then go up to 102, right? And then from 102, 104, I like 104 better. Swing short it down from 104 down to 85K. Now, can that happen? Yes. Can things change? Yes. So don't save this video, say, all right, I'm longing it to 104 and then shorting it. Like, things can change. Things change all the time. And that's why I update the Nexus on a regular basis, because things literally change all the time. However, I do believe it is, that's still the plan until further notice, okay? I have to do my analysis now after this dump because, like I said, things change in real time. But, yeah, that's kind of the situation right now. So let's talk about how we actually shorted that. Well, I knew that Ethereum was in its zone, and Ethereum was a very easy short. It was a lot easier of a short than Bitcoin was, but Bitcoin was the one that I shorted on the live stream. So if you haven't seen the live stream, go back and watch it. I encourage you to watch it. But here's how I shorted Bitcoin, okay? There were two really main contributing factors to this short on Bitcoin. Number one was a market structure flip. You can see here you had high, you had low, you had high, you had low, you had high, you had low, and you had break. So your expectational order flow at that point, which is something I talk about on the channel all the time, is lower high, lower low, okay? So this zone right here, you can look for shorts, right? Was looking for shorts in that area. This is actually where I shorted. I actually shorted a little bit prematurely. I shorted here originally, and then it came back up, and then I was underwater a little bit, and then I added to my position, somewhere's up here, understanding that this is my expectational order flow, and then obviously down we went. If you didn't get in on that break, you could have gotten in on the second break, because once you get a second break like this, you have this new supply range. And why I have this highlighted is because this was actually a double breaker block right here, this double breaker block that I did identify on stream. So again, if you didn't see today's stream, it wasn't very long. Go back and watch today's stream. It was a strictly scalping stream. We had a double breaker, and that's exactly where we rejected from. Okay. Now, the cherry on top to this manipulation is CVD was very, 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 very bearish at this time. Okay. So I don't really use indicators as much as I used to. I get a lot of questions about Market Cipher. Yes, I still use Market Cipher, but I use it primarily when entering. I did not use it on today's trade, but CVD sometimes I use to help me give me an edge in direction when things are a little bit more ambiguous, right? Like, I didn't have an exact level for here on Bitcoin. That doesn't mean that there wasn't one. Clearly there was if we got this reaction. However, I did have a level on Ethereum, and so I know they work in tandem. But more importantly, because I didn't have a level on Bitcoin and I got to be a little bit more cautious, I can resort to things like open interest and CVD. And we had very bearish CVD while we came into this zone. So you can see here that while people were longing, more people were longing right here. More people were longing over time. More people were longing. And then right here on that second high up, after getting that break of structure, you can see more longs came in, but price was not getting higher. And then we broke structure again. So that was kind of just the nail in the coffin. That second break of structure, you could have shorted it here, stop above here, right? If I come back on On TradingView, you're right, you could have got your short position, and I was already in, so I didn't add to it. I added it to it up here. Perhaps it was premature, but it worked out. You could have entered like this and then targeted at the very minimum, which I mentioned many times on the stream this morning, on the public stream, that I think we could come down to 96 quite easily. And it's simply just because of liquidity, right? Like these equal lows. As long as this remains on the chart, I'm never going to long that. Never in a million years. No way. Like, right? So you could have taken it to there and then potentially down lower if you knew your levels and what you were looking for. These levels are no longer important. Don't need that anymore. Don't need this anymore. Or you could have refined your entry a little bit further, right? So remember, once you know where price is going, the game just becomes get the best risk to reward. The safer play would have been to keep your stop above here. However, I probably would have just done it like this and covered the order block in itself, especially after I saw that reaction. So, we're on the 5-minute time frame. Once I saw it hit and then not close above, perhaps I would have entered on the break there, stop above here, and then down to those like equal lows. Like I said, it was a relatively easy trade. And you can see my thought process during stream. So that would have been a 5 risk to reward trade. Better than people that would have caught the knife right off the bat. So anyways, that's it for today's video. That's how I entered. If you want to join the Nexus, the link for that is in the description down below. So make sure that you sign up if that's something you're interested in. I do streams every morning. I do my analysis every morning. I'm not always right, but when I am, definitely pays off in moments like this. And I have to say that I've been pretty on point lately. I don't think I've missed in the last like month or so, month and a half even. So, yeah, the link for that is in the description down below. Everybody else, have an amazing, well, not everybody else, everybody, whether you're in the Nexus or not, have an amazing weekend. Be careful because obviously weekend volume is coming up and we have a lot of manipulation with that whole Bitcoin or Bybit FUD or whatever. What I will leave you with right now is that ETH is in a long zone and I am looking along it. I'm actually low key, I'm not the one that told you, low key already in an aggressive long on Ethereum, but I might close it. I don't know. I don't like trading on the weekends. Like I said, I get burned on Fridays a lot. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I have to see. Don't take this trade based on what you see here, okay? Because things change all the time and, I update the Nexus all the time. Anyways, if you like this kind of content, hit the like button, subscribe with the notification bell. Make sure to follow me on X because sometimes I post these setups, just charts. I can't always come to YouTube in time, but sometimes I post these charts ahead of time, so you'll get it for free. Make sure you hit the notification bell there as well. And if you like this kind of content and you want to see another trade analysis recap, then hit the button right over here. Hit that. Have a good weekend, everybody.